Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Kyle Chronicles. As always, I have my partner in crime here, Erica, with me. We read recently that Ed Sheeran, who's a very talented musician, is going through a lawsuit. And it's not just any kind of lawsuit. It's a lawsuit for plagiarism and sounding like other artists.
Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On apparently sounds like Thinking Out Loud, and like initially you read that and you're like, that doesn't sound anything like those songs. Like that song sounds completely different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So gave it a listen. I can definitely hear similarities.
There's similarities, but
it's not dead on. That's the thing.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that. So I think one of my biggest issues with the music industry isn't just it's like, okay, now don't get me wrong, I've just learned a little bit about Marvin Gaye, and it was a tragedy that he died the way he did. But who is this really benefiting?
And
I mean, it's like kind of like you're disrespecting his memory. I don't know. To me, that's like being. It's not about the music at this point. It's more or less like, okay, we are Marvin Gaye's kids.
And now we don't have to work for anything.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're gonna sue everyone. This isn't like, oh, this is a fresh new lawsuit. Give them a break. No, they sued Robin Thicke, in which, I'm sorry, Blurred Lines I thought was more of a one-of-a-kind song, because I never heard a song like that.
Yeah.
And it did not sound anything like the Marvin Gaye song.
Right.
It doesn't. I'm sorry.
It doesn't. It's like, is there a cowbell in it? Sure, I guess so.
Yeah, but so is Blue Oyster Cult.
I know.
Don't Fear the Reaper. You're gonna sue them too?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a completely different tone of music. I mean, it's like they make all these rules for artists now that you can get a cover license to be able to cover a song, but now if you have something that's even remotely similar
in your own content,
you're attacked for it.
It's very difficult as a songwriter to go into writing if you're constantly thinking like, oh, whose random ass song am I actually copying from? Like, who's gonna think my song sounds the same? Like, I just feel like it's bad for the music industry to keep going after, like, keep doing these lawsuits, because it makes the artists that are trying to actually write original content
or like
suffer.
even
and
artists
like,
that
I understand that like some of these examples are like spot on copies, and that's not what I'm referring to. I'm just referring to like the Blurred Lines one with Gotta Give It Up. Like that, they didn't sound like that similar.
That's like the issue with, like, you know, going off of, you know, more of the heavier stuff that I listen to. You hear one band have a similar breakdown, all of a sudden it's like, oh, they stole that breakdown from a band that came out with it like 5 months ago. It's like, wait a minute, you're playing the same notes, but you're playing a completely different song. But just because of one little part sounding similar to another band, you're gonna attack that band by saying that they're unoriginal? There's only so many notes that you can do on a guitar, and there's only so many notes that you can sing.
Right, and there's only so many chords that go together, you know what I mean? Like, and transitioning between things. There's so much that goes into music that there is limitations, you know what I mean? Like, it's not an endless possibility of arranging things, you know what I mean? You can't just randomly arrange things in a song. And to kill creativity that way too, to just, you know, just be afraid of expressing yourself because you're afraid you're going to be copying somebody. Like, it's terrible.
Like the Blurred Lines one, it reminds me of the Stay With Me one, with Tom Petty's Won't Back Down song. I listen to Won't Back Down, it's a great song. You listen to Stay With Me, I'm like, because it sounded similar and it had the same pace? I mean, and Tom Petty's won that too.
Yeah, he ended up, I think, getting writing credits for it.
I mean, he had nothing to do with that song.
He didn't, and it happened to be that he sounded very similar to that song.
But isn't the point of music just to be able to go and enjoy it? It doesn't really matter who has any kind of credit. you know, music is one of those things that's supposed to bring people together, but now it becomes more about the money and like getting that fame. It's like, okay,
yeah, and who
you
did
know,
it first?
yeah, it's like, okay, I did this first. Okay, just the music business in general is supposed to bring people together, because you know messed up this world is and everything. And I think that lawsuits against other artists is just hurting the music business in general. I mean, if someone went and said, like if Ed Sheeran went out and said, I was responsible for writing Let's Get It On, which is impossible, but that's a different story.
Or if he listened to Let's Get It On and then blatantly was like, I'm going to copy the song, and you were like,
which he didn't.
Copying the song, which he also didn't. Like, yeah, then you're doing something wrong. But if you just wrote a song and it sounds similar, give him a break. He didn't mean to.
I mean,
get over it. You had your moment. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. The music industry changes. You know what I mean? Like, new artists come out and things sound similar. People borrow from different things. It shouldn't be, you know, like, oh, that was my song first. Because guess what? Every song, you know, if you break it down to chords, you're copying everybody. Because every chord somebody's played before.
Music evolves. Like Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On was one thing.
Right.
And then even if it sounds similar, it evolved into Thinking Out Loud. You know, that's the thing about music, is that music is supposed to move forward and evolve. Like, hearing about the lawsuit does not make me dislike Ed Sheeran's song. Like, at all. Like, when the Robin Thicke lawsuit happened, I was like, really?
Yeah. I mean, like, I still like those Marvin Gaye songs, but it almost makes me...
It makes me like
lose
less
respect for them.
It's not really the artist that you lose respect for. You know, obviously you can't be mad at Marvin Gaye for this lawsuit, but you can be a little bit like, okay, it's one thing you sued one. Now a couple years go by, all of a sudden you're looking back. It's been a few years since the song has come out, and then all of a sudden you're gonna be like this.
It's like, what do? Sit around like listening to songs to see if they're similar to the songs that your dad wrote?
Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, Ed Sheeran's not just going through one lawsuit, he's going through two.
Yeah, and the second one actually wrapped up. There was a settlement reached over his photograph. They accused this team of writers, it was just a two-person team, Thomas Leonard and Martin Harrington, they wrote a song called Amazing, and it sounds very similar to Photograph, like very, like, almost spot on. And that song was actually made famous by an X Factor winner named Matt Cardle. So
in 2012.
In 2012. So I feel like when it's very strong, like a very strong, not even a similarity, it's the
same notes,
same
notes, same rhythm, same everything except for lyrics. Then you have more of a stronger case, because it's just like, okay.
Right, even the way that the lyrics are saying, like in the syllables and stuff, like everything is, you know, pretty spot on in my opinion. So
but no one's more spot on than Folsom Prison Blues and the Crescent City Blues.
Right. Exactly.
That one was very freaky, because I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan, and that's actually one of my favorite songs of his. And then I heard the one sung by the Gordon Jenkins, and at first I was like, this is old school country music, and then Johnny Cash took it to a whole new level. But then you listen to his lyrics, and you listen to their lyrics, and you're like, oh.
It's the same song.
It's the same song. It's
the
very
same
freaky.
song.
This is like kind of going off the topic of the lawsuits, but it's just, that's where the music business has gone to.
Yeah, it's just down into the pits of money.
Yeah, it's like,
how can we nickel and dime everybody?
And that's why that's why we talk to local artists more than the bigger artists, because the local artists put their heart and soul into it, just like the big artists do, but it's like they just want to do it for the love of the music. And I feel like a lot of
their sound out.
I feel like a lot of the people nowadays, you know, have lost track of that. But again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We decided that we want to do more of a current event thing, and this current event was kind of more about music, and which is something that is very dear to me. It's very dear to Erica as well. And you know, when we hear stuff like this, it hits home for us, because music is, as I said before, something that has kept, let's just say, it's kept us very much more. It's very much more alive than we would be without it. And knowing that there's all this like politics with music, it's kind of depressing. And you know, we figured, instead of doing a current event thing about like, you know, Trump or like North Korea, you know, go a little bit more on the lighter side, but also show that music should be an art form that shouldn't be like about suing.
Yeah.
That's what makes it art. It's supposed to be spreading love and spreading your ideas that you have created, even if they sound similar or anything like that. That's the point of it.
But let us know what you think. You know, comment below and
like, share, subscribe.
Yeah.
But again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for a very special episode of Kyle Chronicles. Again, I'm Kyle. This is Erica.